Thank you very much, John, and thank you for that really warm applause in downtown Brisbane. It's really appreciated. My role here is to really set the scene, and and then set the scene for the speakers, who Cecile will recognise and in the next few minutes. It's been said, and it was repeated by the Prime Minister yesterday, that the resource industry is an important developer partner in Papua New Guinea, that our sector is a big investor, not just in the mining and oil and gas, but what we want to emphasize is as well, and this was reflected in the presentations yesterday, our social and economic fabric of our society as well. Our industry is a key driver in that wider business ecosystem that exists in our country, and we're about adding value to the whole country, not just within our area. And I think this is something that we as an industry, and that was challenged in the panel discussion in the petroleum side, need to enunciate a lot better and improve that understanding within the public discourse here in Papua New Guinea. The partnerships between the resource industry and the government are critical to ensure that Papua New Guinea continues to benefit from the wealth created from its natural resources. What's unique in our country is that our licenses are invariably on land owned by, under customary land ownership. And our constitution and relevant laws acknowledge this traditional land ownership. And that's what makes Papua New Guinea unique and adds some complexity as we move to develop our mines and our petroleum licenses. At this point, and I'd like to just acknowledge MRDC for inviting a list of landowners who are in the room next door, listening to this presentation. We acknowledge the landowners, we give homage to the landowners that are next door, and indeed the eventual owners of the Hilton in here in Port Moresby. The resource industry has been a key driver, an economic driver, and has been contributing significantly to the nation's economy, and has continued without fail to underwrite the development of our country since independence, and will continue to do so into the future. In order for the industry to continue this, investors will need to be confident in the legal, fiscal, and regulatory environment in Papua New Guinea. The industry is committed to supporting internationally competitive legislation and ensuring that modern regulation of the industry, whilst encouraging and maintaining investment. What's important, I think, and the Prime Minister tried to say this yesterday, and it was important that he mentioned this, about some of the stability. I think in all of our discourse with government, we reiterate the point about stability. Stability so that investors can make long-term decisions. And we underline that once again today. Also, since coming into office, Prime Minister James Marape has inspired a generational rethink on equity, added value, and greater share. And this is a timely discussion for this country, and indeed necessary. But it's important that this discourse is done with facts, with data, and well-researched positions, so that we could have effective consultation with government and with the people of Papua New Guinea. We need to have this discussion for a long-term outcome and not a short-term outcome. And I have this discussion from time to time with some fellow Papua New Guineans, and I say national content is not about making Papua New Guinean millionaires within the life of a construction period of a project. National content has to take a long-term perspective, and when we take a long-term perspective, then we can put in place the relevant structures and framework to continue a wider economic growth and benefit to all of our people, and particularly our traditional landowners, who have a sense, who actually own and have a sense of strong ownership of not just the land, but the resource as well. So we need to conceptualize that and work to understand how we can grow our country in this modern world. The 2019 EITI report, and I urge all of us to take particular reference to the EITI reports, because the EITI report collects data by an independent assessor from each company. We report our revenue. This report is cross-referenced and audited with IRC, MRA, MRDC, and all the other relevant government agencies. So this should be the lead document used by our politicians, our leaders, and indeed by our landowners, so they understand an audited account is produced for the benefit of our people, so we can have conversations based on a fully audited EITI report. The 2020 report will commence shortly, so we will, the EITI Secretariat will start the process to collect data and have this data audited with relevant authorities to produce a report by middle of next year for the year 2020. But what it showed to us, for example, and I think this was, Susil, well presented in Exxon's report yesterday, the amount of contribution by PNG LNG, for example, to Papua New Guinea's exports. And that's very, very important for us to continue to share these figures with our people. The extractive industry in 2019, for example, contributed 109 million and 335 million of mandatory and voluntary social benefits and expenditures, respectively. So these social expenditures are in the form of cash, in kind, which local communities have directly benefited from. And this has been a common theme in the conference yesterday and will continue today, where we want to show not just the direct revenue from extractives, but also this large contribution that we make to health and education and the wider livelihood within Papua New Guinea. The 2019 report revealed that the industry accounted for 28% of GDP, and that's real and nominal domestic, gross domestic product. The 2020 report, as I mentioned, will be completed soon, and I urge all stakeholders to look out for this report, hold this report, and continue discussions based on this report, and welcome you to challenge the industry based on the report that we participate in producing for important discourse. So I want to stop here because I think I'm looking forward to the discussions from Honourable Charles Abel, who an experienced Minister of Government from in the previous government and Treasurer at a critical time of our country's history, and then followed by Mr. Augustine Mano. So I'm looking forward to the session today, Susil, and I need to check. Am I handing to Susil? Yes, so I'll hand across to yourself, Susil, and thank you everyone for listening and the opportunity to present. Thank you, Susil.